Hey, Honors Bulls! This week on the Honor Roll podcast, we'll be talking to USF alum, practicing attorney, and four-time honors parent, Maria Gerber, who is also the head of the JGHC Summer Institute Mock Trial Intensive Program. We're going to talk all about the parent perspective, perks of attending USF, and the honors community. All that and more coming up next. Hey, Honors Bulls! Welcome to the Honor Roll podcast, the flagship podcast of the Judy Genshaft Honors College Podcast Network. I'm your host, Caroline Merriman, a fourth-year student studying English and biology at the University of South Florida, and a member of the Honors College. Today, I will be your only host, but it's a special week because we're recording from the beautiful Sarasota-Manatee campus for the first time in Honor Roll podcast history. To keep up tradition, we always like to start the podcast off with one big question. So my question this week is, where did your parents want you to go to school? Currently, the average prospective college student applies to around 12 universities. So out of your college choices, did your parents want you to stay nearby or go to their alma mater, or was there some other factor that swayed their opinion? Personally, my parents wanted me to stay in state to save money on college, and my siblings already went to USF, so they wanted me to stay where I had the most support. USF was easily my best choice, and I can say that I'm so glad I went here. Well, today I'll be speaking to USF alum and attorney Maria Gerber, whose four sons have attended the University of South Florida, about her experience as a parent of Judy Genshaft Honors College students and her involvement as an alum and the USF experience.
My name is Reginald Lucian. I'm the Assistant Dean for Student Success at the Judy Genshaft Honors College. Being an honors administrator, I take great responsibility in supporting the initiatives in the college that support student success. One of the roles that I play is obviously supporting our academic advising team, which I think is crucial to the success of our students. We want our students meeting with our academic advisors. So in my role, I make sure that our advising initiatives are properly supported by the college and the resources are available to students to have access to their academic advisors.
Hey Bulls! On today's episode, I am here with Maria Gerber. Maria is a USF alum, practicing attorney, and leader of the national award-winning mock trial team and USF mom. Over the years, each of Maria's four sons have attended the University of South Florida and were a part of the Honors College community. Her youngest son, Spence, is currently a sophomore and the rising student government governor for the Sarasota-Manatee campus. Thank you so much for joining me today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm a proud USF mom, but also a proud USF alum. Attending USF benefited me so much. It was such an enriching experience, and I wanted to carry on the tradition with my sons, and I've been so happy that they followed in my footsteps.
All right. Well, as you mentioned, you originally did your undergrad at USF before going to law school, and now all of your children have followed in your footsteps here. What was your undergraduate experience like at USF?
Well, it was wonderful. I attended the St. Petersburg campus. I had several classes that were on the Tampa campus, but it was a wonderful experience. The teacher-student ratio, really the investment at that smaller campus that the professors made in our academic lives. I remember when I made the decision that I was going to be applying to law school and sharing that with several of my professors, and they were just only too eager to really come alongside me in that and help in whatever way they could to open doors for me. And that's the experience that I really wanted for my sons, is to have that ability to engage with not only your professors, but with faculty. And I think it was a very meaningful experience that my sons are able to replicate here at the Sarasota-Manatee campus.
Absolutely. I think it's really important that students are able to actually have a personal connection with their professors, which as a student who goes to Tampa campus, that's something that I've really found from my professors in the Honors College, where the ratio is smaller. And so I feel like my professors actually get to invest in my journey, and which is really, really helpful. What drew you to USF in the first place?
Well, I was sort of local and homegrown, so it was very convenient for one thing. But I loved having the commuter campus because I did work while I was an undergraduate. So it gave me the opportunity to still stay local while working. But I also believed that it was, that I was going to get a stellar education, and I've never regretted that because it served me very, very well. USF, all three campuses are really such a large, integral part of their community. They all have a different flavor, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
But they are so instrumental in what they do in their community, and that had always impressed me, right, as a young person. And so it turned out to be a wonderful choice, and never looked back.
You don't have to go far to get to a good university, right?
Well, that's right. Very, very nice. And of course, the natural beauty and serenity of both the St. Pete and the Sarasota campus doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
The waterfront view.
Exactly. It was wonderful.
What do you think has kept you kind of at USF all of these years?
I think their values that they espouse, the commitment to academic excellence, but also, again, their involvement in the community.
Absolutely.
I'm just so impressed with that. I mean, again, all three campuses, such a benefit to their surrounding community. For instance, at the Sarasota-Manatee campus, the cultural events that are held here, the TEDx evening, and so many others, too many really to mention. But the fact that they're so committed to also giving back to their local community, and I think that speaks volumes to USF students as well, as they look forward to graduating and becoming an alum. The fact that their school is always going to, I think, be there for them.
Absolutely.
Not just once they graduate. I think that for me is very instrumental, and was instrumental in a decision as my four sons' mother to encourage them to consider USF. And I think because I had such a positive experience, my brother, who was also an attorney, graduated from USF.
Oh, awesome.
And so it's sort of a family affair. But I think they saw that firsthand, how well USF had served us, not only academically, but in our career choices. And so it's working out very, very well for them. And by the way, I might add that they have very diverse interests and vocational and career interests. One just graduated from law school, another is studying to be a pilot, another's going to be in law enforcement. All of them, again, will be, my youngest when he graduates from USF. So they have, very diverse interests, and they were all served very well here.
And I think it's really easy to see that as USF has like an earnest interest in like its students, but also its community, like it makes opportunities for students while they're here, but students can imagine themselves like continuing their involvement with USF after they graduate.
Agreed. And with so many students, of course, leaving maybe their home state or their home place to go across country or across state, for those who do want a commuter experience, I think that's part of what makes it very attractive, in that knowing when you enter the business community, your school is right there, and having that opportunity to give back. I am shoulder to shoulder most often in the business community with other USF alumni, and I'm so proud to stand beside them. I'm always very, very impressed as well, and that's because in part to the great education and investment that they experienced here at USF.
So as someone who has stayed involved with USF and is very proud to represent USF as an alum, what has it been like to watch USF grow over the years, and how do you think maybe your experience at USF was different from your children's experience at USF?
It was different. I mean, first, we live in a digital age now, so there were not any virtual experiences or online courses. But what I think I appreciate so much is the fact that they have experienced this growth, which I'm so happy to see. There weren't sports programs that we had back when I graduated. It was so long ago. So seeing that, grow, seeing the university grow is very exciting. But at the same time, what I think I'm very impressed with is the fact that they have remained true to their value and their mission, again, that commitment to excellence and commitment to the student, both prior to and post-graduation. I'm amazed at how wonderfully they've managed to balance that, to be in a growth mode, but yet still be very true to sort of that small hometown feel. I think that's very unique.
Yeah, I think the campus kind of lends itself to that, especially at like the Sarasota and the St. Pete campus, where it is smaller, but like your professors are pushing you and challenging you still at the same time, so you get to have that balance.
Absolutely.
How do you think specifically being a part of the Honors College benefited them, since all four of your sons have been a part of that community?
Such a benefit. I often tell people that I compare this to an expensive, small private education, right? And the fact that we can get that from a public university and it be affordable and available is such a wonderful, again, benefit to the students. But I think speaking to the honors college experience itself is what I have really also appreciated is the diverse and varied subject matter and course selections that they've been able to enjoy that go beyond their major or their minor. I mean, I know looking back over the last several years, they've experienced courses that involve the culinary arts, the law, race, and healthcare. And so having that sort of diverse approach to the honors courses, I think produces a student and an individual who is more well-rounded.
Absolutely.
And their thought processes are challenged. And I also think being in small classes of 10, 12, or 20 students gives them the opportunity to speak maybe more freely than they would if they're in a big stadium, seated 400, 600 students, right? And so to enjoy that sort of communication and discourse that you would have with other students and your professor, I think is very, very helpful into shaping who they're going to be, not necessarily their career choices, but also shaping, who they're going to be socially and otherwise.
It makes the learning environment and process completely different when you're in a class of 20 people and you're like, oh, what I'm saying today and what I'm learning right now actually matters for me and for like the other people that are in this room. And it's something that I'm going to keep with me. It's not just an exam I'm studying for and then I'm going to go forget everything because I just needed to pass the class.
That's right. And to hear other people who think differently than you and have different backgrounds, but still be able to have that common shared experience of being in an honors course or in the honors college. Again, I think that just benefits throughout life, well beyond graduation.
How would you characterize the experience of being an honors parent? Do you think there's a different level of involvement or community there, specifically being a parent of an honors student?
I think it might. I think that so many of the USF parents are very committed, regardless of whether their children are in the honors program. But I think just being able to discuss with your child when they come home from school, that's one of the benefits of having them attend, as a commuter.
Absolutely.
Because they can come home and share their experiences. So I think it gives you wonderful opportunities to engage and really appreciate and understand and be a part of their college experience. Again, if they're 1,000 or 2,000 miles away or more, you may not be able to have that over a telephonic conversation or a Zoom.
A little harder.
Right. So I think, and again, talking about some of that diverse subject matter that is featured in the Honors College gives you a wonderful opportunity to have dialogue with your adult child that you may not have been otherwise able to enjoy.
Oh, that's
so I've
really
appreciated
interesting.
That as a parent.
It's facilitated conversations between you and your children.
Yes, because it's not just reading and writing or composition. Those core courses are very, very important, right? But having courses that take it to another level that require more maybe critical analysis, from your student, your child, gives you the opportunity on more than adult level to talk about issues that challenge us in society, whether they be political or otherwise. Wonderful opportunity to open up those communications and those conversations.
That's so cool that it's just like what's in the classroom's coming home.
Yes.
That is so cool.
That's exactly right. And I sometimes learn a lot that way as well.
You're like in the class with them.
Absolutely. And especially with one of my sons, he had a professor who was a West Point graduate, Harvard educated.
Amazing.
It was amazing. And I was just so happy and proud that my son got to be under his tutelage, 2 or 3 times a week in his classroom. I had an appreciation just for the fact that I was in that close proximity. So I think that's one of the other benefits that the college, Honors College provides.
Yeah, we've had some really amazing people come and teach or come and speak at the Honors College. And so I think that's another experience, on top of all the resources that we already get, that we are getting the cream of the crop, so to speak, at our university. And those are the people who we are lucky enough to get to learn from. And to hear about their life experiences, I think is really, really cool.
I completely agree. And that's why I'm so impressed with USF and how they really purposefully pursue that for the students. They're taking it to a whole nother level or layer that, again, not everyone can enjoy.
Nope.
But it's a real privilege, right?
So your youngest son, who is still at USF, he attends the Sarasota-Manatee campus. you kind of spoke to this, but kind of what do you think are the benefits of being a student at Sarasota-Manatee specifically over our other two campuses?
I think the opportunity, again, getting back to that teacher-student ratio, really getting to know your professors and your faculty.
Yeah.
And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for students to feel more connected and
Yeah.
maybe, and I had a son who attended and graduated from the Tampa campus as well, so we've had both experiences. But that said, to shine when you do have a smaller campus and a smaller enrollment, I think there's greater opportunity there for them to be a more integral part, whether it be the Honors College, student government, to work here on campus. All of my sons enjoyed the campus so much, and the people who work here on every level, that they would just often be here to study when they didn't even have courses that day. They didn't even have classes that day. Meet here with friends, partake in a lot of the events after hours that USF sponsors, be a part of the community, not just the student body. So for all of those reasons and so many more, but I think that's part and parcel to why they enjoyed this particular campus and experience so much.
Even just walking in here, this is my first time I've ever been to Sarasota-Manatee. Like, you just feel the cozy atmosphere right away. And so as someone who's gone to the Tampa campus, I can definitely see how there's a bit of a difference in the vibe and of maybe the culture around here.
There is. And look, there's something for everybody. I think that's what makes University of South Florida so wonderful. If there is someone who prefers the commuter experience, the smaller student body, or someone who wants to go to Tampa and enjoy, a much larger setting, the busyness of that campus, Greek life. I mean, it has a whole different, again, like you say, vibe. And so I think it's great because it has something, I think, for everybody.
Which is really important with such a big student body and a very diverse student body, that we have opportunities for everybody.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Hammond. I am a senior in biomedical sciences. My advice to someone joining the Honors College would be to be open to new experiences outside of what you already know, and working with a bunch of different people with collaboration to find out how different fields and disciplines could correlate together.
And we've we've talked a lot about your experience as a parent, but you are not just an honors parent. You are actually an actively involved alumni, and you're channeling your impressive law career into an educational opportunity for local students through the JGHC Summer Scholar Mock Trial Intensive. Could you tell us a bit about the program and what inspired you to get involved?
Yes. I think what inspires me to get involved is, first of all, I love teaching and I love coaching, particularly in the area of forensics. And mock trial, I think, for a student at any level, high school, college, or law school, and I have taught and coached at all three levels, this is really the pinnacle or the height of forensic studies or forensic experience. So teaching mock trial to high school students at USF not only gives me an opportunity to give back. So many people along my journey did that, both at USF and when I, graduated on to law school. And this gives me an opportunity to give back and pay it forward. And I don't say that lightly. I really do believe that, first of all, I get more out of it than the student does, because it's just my greatest pleasure and passion to teach something that I love so much. And, whether they're going to be on a career path that leads them to a career in law or to enter the legal community, this program serves them so well. They just learn more as a citizen.
Absolutely.
About the laws of our country, how our criminal justice system works, our court system. So just helping them to become an informed citizen at such a young age, and also perhaps help them decide whether or not they're going to have an interest in a legal career. They may think so, and then after having this experience, go in a different direction. But we also really handle the program in a very organic, holistic way. So we're not just teaching them how to behave or perform in a courtroom. I'm teaching them about the Constitution and about how our system works. And they hear from, we had an FDLE lab tech come and attend 3 years in a row. She gives of her time. So they're learning how to be a forensic scientist. So they may not want to be a lawyer, but they may think that they want to be involved forensically in law enforcement. It will have, like I said earlier, a prosecutor or a criminal defense lawyer come. So I want them to see all the different aspects and how many vocational choices are available to them. So again, teaching them more about How is that piece of evidence handled by police? How do we determine whether it is the suspect's DNA? So all of those layers that go with the legal, particularly the criminal justice system, I want them to learn all about it so that when they're in the courtroom on our final sixth day, they will have a greater appreciation, I think, for how it all works. And I think that just makes them appreciate and understand that more than just robotically going through how to be a lawyer or a witness in a courtroom. I truly want them to understand how it works in real life.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you're kind of taking apart the whole process for them of something like they would never have understood that before, that all of that just goes into a trial. That's so interesting.
Agreed. I want them to understand all of those different aspects. Again, just as citizens who will trundle through life and maybe have a brush with the legal system. Again, not part of their career choice, but maybe as an individual. And I really do believe wholeheartedly that just this 1 week in such a compressed period of time, that they'll learn a lot about it to perhaps be inspired or just better informed overall.
Yeah, I think as a high school student, it's really important just like be a part of something and to get to have experiences whether or not I mean, at that age, really, a lot of people don't know what they're going to do. And so to be able to see such a wide array of vocations and to meet people who are actually actively doing those things, I'm sure inspires a lot of students and gives them a lot of direction.
We think so. And they also get to work with other students with very diverse backgrounds. They're different ages. You can be 15, you can be 18. Some have had experience with mock trial or forensics, some have none. And they're put in teams of 6 or 8. And to see them really work collaboratively together, and we talk about that in class. This is part of life. You're going to be put with people. Maybe you might not like them that much, but you're going to learn to work on a group effort and be a cog in that very important wheel. And I think it's so important not only that they learned about advocacy, but how well to work with others. Advocacy is really our ultimate goal with this program, is that they're going to learn how to advocate for themselves, how to advocate for others. And again, that's going to be through every walk of life.
Absolutely.
Their professional life, academic, their personal life, right? How to have a voice, how to communicate more effectively. In the end, that's really kind of sums it up in a nutshell, but just in a legal sort of context.
What has it been like to almost be an intermediary between USF and local professionals or people who want to get involved with mock trial, but the students as well?
Well, I love it. And again, I think that's so in keeping with the goals and mission of USF, in particular this campus, is doing that community outreach. Some of them may or may not be USF alums, but seeing how those individuals come and give back to a local school. Again, perhaps they didn't attend USF, but they really appreciate the fact that USF is here and what they're doing. And I find those professionals really enjoy coming in as a guest speaker and sharing their life experience, their academic experience with the students. It's just enriching all of us. The professionals love coming back and, again, paying it forward. And the students benefit so much from hearing. A couple of days ago, they heard from 2 homicide detectives.
Wow.
One is retiring after 30 plus years. And so, again, just seeing that real world example and seeing those individuals who model those certain vocations or professions for them gives them greater insight. And hopefully they see those professionals giving back.
Absolutely.
And when they graduate, they will do the same. And the cycle goes on. And it's just so important to maintain that cycle.
As someone who has stayed so involved, why would you urge other people to do the same?
Well, I think because, again, I think we sort of owe the generation behind us, right? I think we do. And they are our future leaders of tomorrow. Something happened recently where I'm beginning to vote at my age for people who are younger than I. That's sort of a pivotal moment in one's life. But, we hear a lot about the next generation, right? Some of their issues, and maybe it's not so positive, some of the banter that concerns this next generation. I think every generation does that to a great extent, right? We got it right, and they're not getting it right. But when you're in the classroom and you get this opportunity, and it really is immersion, to work with them on for 5, 6 days, for 8, 9, 10 hours, I'm encouraged knowing that we are in good hands. It's not as bad as what's reported out there and on the social platforms. Because if this is the caliber of student, the individuals who attend the mock trial intensive through the Honors College, this is the caliber of student and later the caliber of individual who may be in a leadership position. I'm very encouraged. And so I think it's just very not only enlightening, but again, to be a part of their journey in some small way. And we talk a lot about in the class, just as the honors program does, we talk about whether they'll be called to leadership and that foundation that they need. And again, the USF and the Honors College is the best way I can think of to start. But again, hearing from other professionals in the community who are leaders in their business community, in law, in medicine, or what have you, I think gives them something to look forward to and to look up to.
Absolutely. And I think like not creating a barrier between generations, but actually like using education and like activism as a way to encourage younger generations to reach for something or to be inspired to pursue a certain career or anything like that, I think is a really important kind of tradition to carry on. I
agree. I think it all comes down to community and then relevance. Right? I mean, it's a wonderful experience for me to still feel relevant with the youth when they actually are listening to what I have to say. But I listen to them too. And so, that sort of symbiosis that can be created in the classroom will hopefully carry well beyond it.
Do you have a favorite memory from like working with the mock trial group?
I think there's not one favorite memory, but just the experiential opportunity that they have. And seeing the culmination of everything that they've learned in 5 short days, and then what they do with that in the courtroom, in a real courtroom experience on a real law school campus, that is so gratifying. And believe me, I am always so enormously impressed with what they do in 5 days. I mean, we really can't believe it, because we start with a blank slate, many blank slates, right? 20, 25 plus students. And where they take that, because of their level of hard work and their commitment to this program. The interesting thing to me is these students, these kids, 15 to 18, they could be at the beach. They could be at home playing video games, Instead, they're here, really putting in the hard work. And it does not just end when our class ends at 4:30. They continue to work. Their coaches were getting emails and texts last night at 11 p.m. Because they're still working for it and they want to do the very best. Again, carrying on that tradition of excellence.
That's cool.
And I think just seeing that culmination in the mock trial exhibition that we have on the 6th day is the most gratifying for me. So that's the experience that really, cool. It's worth it getting to that end.
Yeah.
It's tough on us too. It's a lot of hard work. But seeing that all come together is really wonderful.
It's a cool relationship. It's like when you're invested, the students are invested in what you're putting into kind of their experience. Like they're also putting into learning or to receiving that information education from you guys.
It is. And I maintain contacts, even though it's only been 3 short years, with some of these students.
Wow.
Really to put that in perspective, we had one student last year, and she was 15 years old. She had no forensic experience. And she did so well, but she worked so hard in the program. I ultimately coached her, and she won Best Witness in the state of Florida last year at our state competition, all state. It started right here at USF in the Honors College program, the mock trial intensive.
And that was within 1 year. She went from not knowing anything.
Within 1 year. She was so inspired. And she is set on a career path to be an attorney. Amazing. She wants to be an attorney someday. She's 16 now. And just seeing the growth, and again, the real launching pad that is provided by this program. And again, some of them have decided they don't want to be lawyers, but they might want to be that forensic, lab tech. They might want to go into law enforcement. And so, again, just seeing them set their sights on things that go well beyond this 1 week experience is super cool.
That's amazing. So we've talked a lot about how much we love USF, what that experience has been like. So maybe to someone who, isn't familiar with, the universities or they haven't gone to college yet, how would you pitch USF to them? What would you encourage them to pursue USF for?
And I love that question because I do have that dialogue with them each year because they'll ask me at 15, 16, 17, they're starting to think about where they may go to school. And we talk about, as far as lifestyle fit, are you looking for a commuter campus? Are you looking for that big campus experience? Again, I mentioned Greek life earlier. Or are you looking for more of that smaller campus with the smaller student body? More that up close and personal experience. And I think it does help them shape it gives them perspective and helps them make, hopefully, the right choice for the right school. But not only the right school, they can choose USF, but again, they can decide which campus is the best fit for them. And again, one of my sons started here and then ultimately, went to Tampa. and had an experience, a wonderful experience, very different, very varied at both campuses. But we talked first about, I think, lifestyle fit. What are their goals? And how, really, regardless of whatever career path they choose, I believe that USF provides them that support they need while they're at school, but even well beyond that. I have been enormously impressed, again, with the experiential opportunities
Oh, absolutely.
that they have here. Two of my sons both thought they wanted a career in law. Both thought they wanted to become prosecutors. Well, through USF, Sarasota-Manatee in particular, they were able to be interns at the local state attorney's office. Now, one went there not once but twice through USF and knew. I mean, there was just complete affirmation, validation of what he wanted to do. He starts at the state's attorney's office in August. Hopefully he passes the bar.
Oh, amazing. Congratulations to him.
Thank you very much. And the other one went, and he also was an intern 2 years in a row. And as much as he loved it, and he really did love that experience, he decided that it wasn't for him. He's now studying to be a pilot. He went in a completely different direction. He's like, but the fact that they got that opportunity really helped them make what will hopefully be their best and long-term career choice. So it's not just cracking the books, although it's very important to go to class and read the material.
Study, guys.
Exactly, very important. But also that you can take it outside the walls of the brick and mortar school that you attend, and really have, I think, just, again, take it to that next level. But it helps you hone in on whether those career choices or vocational choices you're thinking about are really for you. And sometimes if you don't get that exposure, you might not make the best choice, or you may end up changing your mind a little bit later. But this gives you the opportunity to explore that, again, on a deeper level at a much younger age, I think.
I think it's so important, especially when there is so many options in college and you're watching everyone around you do all these different things, to actually get to experience not only like your degree that you're currently doing, but also your interests, because until you've done something, you don't know. I mean, studying it is one thing, but actually serving in that role can be completely different. And so I'm really glad that your sons got the experience to find the right fit for them while they were still young and in the university.
Absolutely. And the fact that USF invests in high school students who can come for the summer programs.
Oh, absolutely.
Whether it's in cybersecurity or law or science. I just love that, because they're getting, again, that exposure to what they think they might want to do. Or maybe they want to be a biology major, or, and having that experience. The fact that USF starts at the high school level with summer opportunities is just wonderful. And we have students in this mock trial program from North Florida, across the state.
Oh, that's
One
amazing.
is from Puerto Rico, so he's not even from the mainland.
Wow, people are coming from all over.
From all over. And
so
many of them are doing a second camp or have done one before they got to the mock trial.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
Oh, it's so cool. It's so wonderful. And again, just to have the quality of individuals, again, spearheading the programs too, just an outstanding opportunity.
That's awesome. So as a parent who has, supported four children through college, what advice would you give to prospective students and their families? And that can be, kind of into, college in general.
Well, first I would say, put USF top of their list. I mean, obviously I'm walking that walk. I'm not just
Apply
talking
right
that
now.
talk. Right, exactly. But I think, again, USF will give and that's the other thing I haven't mentioned or given due credit to, is the fact that USF never makes parents feel like they're excluded.
Oh, no.
Right? And we hear about those experiences, with students who go away to college and the parents feel completely disenfranchised or, ill-informed or uninformed. USF never makes you feel like that. You are part of that process as well, if you want to be. And that's something between you and your young student or child as well. But that is something that I will forever be grateful for, is it wasn't as if they just went to college and that was it. I had an opportunity to feel very involved. And one of the things that I have loved so much is that I've gotten to know their friends and their classmates. And what a gift to me, right? And so, first of all, my son's going here in a line of succession. I've been around a really long time, for all these years. But I've so enjoyed getting to know the staff, the faculty, and some of the professors and those students. And some of those students are working here, and I and my children have maintained contacts with them, and so I know what they're doing now when they're out in the real world.
Yeah.
And I think, again, that's something that is unique to USF.
I agree.
Right? It's more of a familial experience. And how great is that? Because when they turn 18 or they turn 19, they're still very young people, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so having the opportunity to still continue to be a very relevant influence or voice in my children's lives has been very meaningful. And I believe that they would tell you the same. I believe that they would tell you that they really appreciate having that. So I think that's one of the greatest benefits, first and foremost. It's a family affair. It doesn't just end when they graduate from high school. And so hopefully when they go on to the workplace or even to do graduate work, medical school, law school, what have you, you're still engaged. And I just think that's been
As a student,
real meaningful.
it's nice to have that support as well. All of my siblings also went to USF.
Wonderful. I love it.
And my mom has stayed very involved. I think she's been to every homecoming game, homecoming parade for the past 6 years.
Right.
So it's been fun to have their support, but to also, like, we all get to take part
Yes.
in the experiences here. So I think that's been really fun.
Absolutely. And just think about the conversations. And not only that, memories, right? I mean, somebody once said to me very recently at my age, they said, she was of a similar age. She said, at our age, it's not really about stuff or collecting things. It's about the memories that we're making with our family members, but particularly our children. And USF is a big part of that, obviously, for my family.
Well, that is all the time we have today. Thank you so much for joining me. It has been such a pleasure to hear about your experience with USF, your son's experience with USF, and all that you are still doing for the community here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Go Bulls.
In the studio. Thank you all so much for joining me again. It was so great to hear all about the community that Maria and her sons have been able to take part of together. And I think it just speaks to the culture of not just the Honors College, but to USF as a whole, that it is a family affair, it is a community affair, and that there are so many opportunities out there, not only for USF students, but community members and alumni as well. And to stay involved with all of our events and dates, don't forget to check the Honor Roll newsletter and our website at usf.edu/honors for more upcoming events, updates, and news. All right, that'll do it for this episode. Today's podcast was recorded at the University of South Florida's Sarasota-Manatee campus. Production assistance is provided by honor student Sandra Napolitano. Thank you all so much for listening. Please do not forget to rate and review our podcast. We greatly appreciate your feedback. Please tune in next week where we hear more honor stories and talk to more members of the Judy Genshaft Honors College. Until next time, go Bulls!